The fact that we are already sitting down and filming my 2025 reading wrap up genuinely blows my mind. Like, I remember doing this for 2024. This is crazy. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Georgia. I hope you're well. Welcome to our 2025 reading wrap up tag style video. I'm going to go through a series of 40 questions. We're going to talk all things 2025 reading, my highs, my lows, my favourites, my disappointing reads, a bit of everything. I'm doing this more for my own benefit. I quite like looking back on like each reading year and seeing what worked, what didn't, and seeing if I've like sort of figured out my reading taste more, and also just seeing if I make any progress with sort of like reading speeds, things like that. I'm going to go through these questions, and a lot of them are the same as the ones I used last year, like I said, so I'm just going to crack on. I'm just going to make a start. We have quite a few things I want to talk about and sort of like discuss, so I'm literally just going to jump straight into this. So question number 1, what was the most disappointing book of 2025? And I feel like this one can be so controversial and a bit of a strong one to start on, but I was beyond excited for this book. I absolutely love the Powerless trilogy. I've read all the books now. So this is Fearful by Lauren Roberts, and I did not enjoy this book. I feel like this one has been such a controversial book. Like, this one has been like the Marmite of the year, I believe, because like so many people have either loved this or hated it, and I don't feel like there's been a lot of middle ground. So I love Lauren Roberts' writing. She is one of my favourite authors. Powerless, I would definitely say, is one of my favourite series. I read the novella as well, so I really enjoyed Powerful. I loved the entire series, but I don't like this book. I really don't like it. Like, I don't feel we needed this. It feels really awful to say it, and I know why a lot of people enjoyed this book, but I don't like it. I didn't see the point. I didn't love the sort of like development. I think it was just a bit of a weird way for the story to go. I know Lauren Roberts had kind of said, like, if you've got any questions, they'll be answered in this book, and I feel like the questions I did have, I didn't really need answers. This was definitely my most disappointing read for 2025. I was so excited for this book and like so sad about it as well, and about it being the last one in this series and this series finally coming to an end. I really didn't like it. I really didn't like this book. The next question that I have is, what's an overhyped book that you've read? And I'm going to go for The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. Now, I read this right at the beginning of 2025, and I will start by saying I am kind of falling out of love with mystery thrillers. I feel like they just don't click with me like they used to. I used to only read mystery thrillers, like from being in school really to starting my reading journey again in sort of like 2023, I only read mystery thrillers with the very occasional sort of like fantasy. And at the minute, I've not read a single thriller this year that I've enjoyed. Like, they've just not been really clicking with me at all. So I read this back in January of 2025, and I just found it a little bit disappointing. Like, I feel like this book received so much hype, and it might have just been me having really high expectations for it going in, but I found this quite predictable. I enjoyed it. I think I rated it 3 stars in the end, but I think I might have been a little bit generous in doing that. It was probably more of like a 2.5. I just think it's overhyped. I think it's overhyped. And I do think part of it is my own fault and me just like having such high expectations going into this read that like I just expected these amazing things, and it was just a bit like nothing shocked me. Literally nothing about this book shocked me. I called everything that happened. This is my overhyped book for 2025. The question number 3 is, what is a book that surprised you? And I'm going to go for this one here. So this is Daughter of a Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. I bought these in New York. So when I'd gone to New York, I knew that Metal Slinger was going to be released there before it was released in the UK. So I'd gone looking for Metal Slinger, and it hadn't been released in the US yet either. So I bought these as like to tie me over for Metal Slinger coming out. This is a trilogy, so there's 3 books in the series in total. There's 2 based on our main character Alosa, and then 1 on a different character. And this surprised me so much. I'd gone in with like very little expectations. It's sort of like a YA piratey vibe, and I'd gone in with minimal expectations. I didn't really know anything about it. I'd not heard anything about this series before, but I loved this. I loved this so much. I thought this book was so much fun and such like just an easy escapism sort of book. We have this pirate adventure, we have sirens, we have all this sort of like fun, strong female main character running a pirate crew, and I just thought it was so much fun. If you've not read this series, I highly, highly recommend it. I have read book 1 and 2. I haven't read book 3 yet, but I do want to get to it soon. I would love to get this series sort of finished off in the next few weeks. This series was incredible. It really did catch me off guard, and I feel like that really set me off into my I want to read loads of pirate books era. I've read these now. I've read Metal Slinger. I've got the Ever King series now as well, and I really want some more piratey recommendations. So if you've read any pirate books that you think I would enjoy, please let me know, because I need more like this. I would love more books with that piratey vibe, whether they're YA, dark romance, anything. I just want pirate vibes. But this really did catch me off guard. I loved this book. It surprised me so much. Question number 4 is, what was your favourite book couple? Now, I really struggled to narrow this down, so I do have a couple of options for this. I'm going to start by saying all of the couples in the Windy City series. I read all of the Windy City series this year, and I loved it. I loved it so much. I think the Windy City series well, I now have all of this sport romance, so that kind of gives you an idea of how much I enjoyed the Windy City series. It really did start a sport romance thing for me, and I love all of those couples, all for different reasons. Like, I love all of them. I'd like to be part of that series, and to be part of that world would just be so good. I love it. Then another couple that's not the Windy City series that I would love to mention, and I do have the book here, Aiden and Lucy from First Time Caller. Now, I put off reading this book for so long, and I finally read it like literally 2 or 3 months ago, and I regret waiting. This is such a good book. I absolutely loved it, and Aiden and Lucy's relationship is one that I just absolutely love. Like, the banter, the fun. She's a single mom. Aiden just sort of really takes to everything, and I love it. I loved this book so much. This was such good fun. Another one I highly, highly, highly recommend. And I just absolutely love their relationship and their development in this as well. So the next question is, what's your favourite main character this year? And again, I really struggle to sort of narrow these down. So I have a few, and I do feel like there's also just some that I am definitely missing. So our first one, I picked Harriet York from Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. She's just such a like positive attitude sort of girl. She's so funny. Her banter just cracks me up. I love her so much. I think she's such a fun character. And then I wanted to also pick like a favourite male character as well, and I'd probably have to say Duke from Riding the Line by Emma Lucy. I loved that book so much. I absolutely devoured that book, and I really like Duke. He's sort of like older brother's best friend. He owns a bar. He's just like super chill, and he's just one of the sweetest guys, and I just really, really liked his character in that book as well. And then I'm going to throw in a bit of a weird one that I think a lot of people will disagree with, but I've got to say Darcy and Tori from the Zodiac Academy. I love them. I've only read the first 3 books in the Zodiac Academy series because I'm currently reading the Ruthless Boys as well, and I just think that their sort of like approach to life is just so good, and I feel like they just take everything on the chin, and like they've been through so much and they still just continue to surprise me. So I wanted to put them on there as well because I feel like they needed to be mentioned somewhere. I love those books so much. I think they're so much fun. We're gonna have to stop for a hydration break. I'm talking too much. So question number 6 is, what's a new author that you discovered this year? There's 3 in particular that I would like to mention here, and I have mentioned all of them already. So there's so many actually. As I'm sat here now, there's loads. Liz Tom Fordy, I've already spoke a lot about the Windy City series, but I read all of those books this year and I loved all of them. I also want to mention B.K. Borison. First Time Caller honestly just took over my life when I finished reading that book. I love her writing so much. I have since bought everything she's ever written. I did also want to mention Trisha Levenseller here again. Like I said, those pirate books were they just really caught me off guard, and that whole series was so much fun. And then I also want to mention Emma Lucy again. So this is Duke, the main male character in book 2, is from this author, and she released her debut novel this year called Live Ranch Love. She's released book 1 and 2 in that series this year. It's the Willow Ridge series, and I just love it. It's like immediately shot up as one of my favourite country romances. I just think it's been so much fun, and like the tropes and the conversations and the topics that we have in those books are so good and done with so much care, and I love it. I love that series so much. So that's just like a few off the top of my head, but in particular Emma Lucy is definitely up there as a new author that I'm just obsessed with me. So she's new to me, but it was also her debut novels this year as well, so I think her writing is just incredible. Anyway, let's move on. The next one is an author that didn't really work out for you this year. So I have read a few Freida McFadden books now, and I find them so hit or miss. So I've read 4 books by this author, and so far I've enjoyed 1. And I read that book in 2024 as well. So I don't know if it's necessarily an issue with the author or an issue with me, but I read The Tenant, I read The Teacher, and I read The Housemaid, and I didn't enjoy any of them. I DNF'd The Tenant in the end as well. I got like 50-60% of the way through it and was just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm just not enjoying it. I'm wasting my time. Let's just give up. Let's just put it down. I really want to try and get a little bit better at like DNFing books, because I will just like power through even when I'm not enjoying them, and that's like precious time I could be reading a book that I love. Do you know what I mean? Unfortunately, Freedom McFadden just hasn't been working out for me this year. Like I said, Never Lie was incredible. I read that in 2024, and that was like one of those mystery thrillers that genuinely caught me off guard. I did not see the big twist at the end come in, but like all of her other books I've just been like bored now. Bored now, and just kind of been like powering through even though I'm not really enjoying them. So I do think I've given up on Freedom McFadden for the time being, so unless I have one recommended to me specifically, then I probably won't pick up many more of her books. I do think I might continue with the Housemaid series at some point, but it's not in like my near future plans. Next one is favourite covers of the year. I have a few here. Honestly, all of my Fairy Loot books, stunning. I've had a Fairy Loot subscription since July of this year, and I've not been disappointed by a single cover yet. They are all gorgeous. But I also have a few others I would like to speak about. So I got my hands on the Grim and Oro book, and I love this cover. I love this design. I think it's so clever, having the little like cutouts and things. We have Oro on one side and Grim on the other, and then the sprayed edges have like both on, and I just think this is such a clever book and such a clever design, and I'm so excited to read it. I do still have one more book to read before I can get to this one, but I just think that this one is absolutely stunning. I think it's so well done and so like well thought out. And I've also managed to get my hands on the new covers of the Gold Rush Ranch series. Now, if you've seen any of my other sort of books where I've spoke about this series, I've always said that I don't like the covers. I just recovered them. They are the covers, and I just think they're so much better than the original ones, and I feel like they also just sort of match the rest of my Elsie Silver books so much better. So I was so happy when she announced that she was recovering these, because I didn't like the original covers, whereas these are stunning. These are so much better, and I like them so much more, and I only have one more of these to actually read. So we now have the new covers of Gold Rush Ranch, and I think they're so much prettier. Okay, the next one I have is a book you haven't stopped thinking about, and I feel like, again, this is probably going to be a bit of a controversial situation, but Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. Now, I read this during my last 24-hour reading challenge, and it was just bob on. I was so happy with this. So it turns out I really like a dark romance rom-com. Like, I never really thought that putting those two together would work, but this was just so much fun, and I've recommended this again and again and again to anyone I know that likes dark romance or that likes romantic comedy. Like, I just think this is brilliant. It's so well done. It's disgusting. It literally had me like kicking my feet 1 minute and then like heaving the next. Like, it is vile, but so funny. And it takes over my brain. Whenever people talk to me about books now, I'll find a way to get this into conversation, because I just think it's so good. It's so much fun. I haven't read the rest of the series, and I do think I'm a little bit scared, because I have heard mixed things about the second one in particular, and I'm so scared that it's going to ruin book one for me. But I loved this so much, and I think it helped that I also audioed it on Audible for part of it anyway, and he has a really thick Irish accent, which just elevates this so much for me. But I highly recommend this series. I highly recommend this book. I think this book is so much fun. The next one I did actually change a little bit from last year, but I've got a book that needs more hype. So back in sort of like July time, I read this book here. Now, this is Wolf by Paisley Hope, and I love this book, and I just don't feel like it has the hype that it deserves. It needs more hype. So this is a dark MC romance. I love an MC romance. This just did it for me. It's so good. And I've also recently read Dove. Like, I got the ARC copy of Dove. I literally finished that like 3 or 4 days ago, and that also was just incredible. These were both 5-star reads for me. They are dark. I would check your trigger warnings, but like, I just love an MC sort of romance, because it's just the best found family element, and like, they would literally kill for each other. They would literally die for each other. The protection, the like touch and die elements in these books, I love them. I love them so much. And I do think there's going to be another one in this series as well. I do feel like we've sort of set up for another romance too, and I cannot wait to see what else comes out by this author. She's also got like a lot of country romances, which are here. I've got the first 3 there. They are just as fun and spicy, but like, the spice in this is incredible. The actual story, the plot is incredible, and I just think they deserve more hype. Why aren't there more people speaking about these books? Why aren't these books more out there? Why aren't more people reading this? Go and read this, please. If you take anything from this video, go and read this book. Just a few more questions. Do stick with me. So the next one is, what is a book that I read this year that I would reread? and I have gone for The Secret We Keep by Emily Catlow. This book caught me so off guard. I love Emily Catlow's writing anyway. I'm going to read anything this author brings out. She did the entire Ripper's MC series, which is another MC series that I absolutely devoured and love, and she's done something a little bit different. So this is a contemporary romance, but it has like this really interesting dark sort of like topic that runs throughout, and this really big twist at the end that just blew my mind. And I would love to go back and reread this knowing the ending of it. Like, the ending changed your perspective on like the first half of this book, and I would love to read that now knowing what happens. And I just think it hits so much harder. So I am debating rereading this and annotating as I go as well, because it's just so good. It just hits so hard, and I just think it'd hit so much harder the second time around. So I do definitely want to get to rereading this at some point. But to be fair, I wouldn't mind rereading her entire backlist, to be honest. This is her 5th book, and I genuinely want to go back and read everything by this author because her writing is incredible, and I want to go back and annotate them all. But this one in particular I think would hit so much harder a second time around. I'm so sorry, I'm so nasally, I'm like full of cold. So my next one is just sort of going back onto my 2025 reading goals. So I had 5 goals for 2025. I had to read 40 books, finish all the series I started last year. I wanted to do the Pennies for Pages challenge. I wanted to focus on my physical TBR, and I wanted to read outside more. There's definitely some on there I haven't done, but there are some on there that I have hit very well, actually. So we'll go through them one at a time. So the first one was read 40 books. I did actually read 77 books in the year of 2025, which I am so proud of myself for. I honestly thought I would struggle to hit 40, and I have nearly doubled it. And I think if it went for Moving House, I would have doubled it as well. But Moving House at the end of November, beginning of December, really slowed down my reading. The next one was finish all the series I started last year. I haven't done that. I don't even know how I planned on doing that, because I didn't have like a list to work from, but I know for a fact I definitely didn't hit that. I like started so many series in 2024 and didn't finish any of them. So probably didn't finish any of them anyway. I can't imagine I did. So the next one was the Pennies for Pages challenge. I didn't do that. I started doing that from like January to March, and then it just kind of went out the window because I had to pay for something broke and I had to pay for it, and then I just kind of never got back into the habit of putting it in there. I would like to do this again this year now that everything's a little bit more settled. The next one was read more of my physical TBR. I definitely did that, but also my physical TBR grew quicker than I read. But I definitely focused on my physical TBR. I was definitely reading a lot of books I physically own, so I would say I hit that. I just made my physical TBR a lot harder to complete. But I'm going to say that I did that. And then the last one was read outside more, which again is something I definitely did a lot of. Me and James spent a lot of time outside, just sat in the park near my old flat and like read there. So I definitely think that I hit that goal. I read outside a lot more, and that again is something I want to pull forward into 2026. So I did do 3 of my 5 goals in 2025. I would say that's better than I expected. To be honest, I didn't feel like I'd stuck to or even looked back on my 2025 goals at all. So I'm going to take that as a win. 2 more questions then. So what is a book I wish I got to this year? I've picked 2 for this because there's 2 that I was really pushing to squeeze in at the end and just didn't. And the first one is the Throne of Glass series, but I've just got Assassin's Blade because it's the only one out of the box right now. So I really wanted to read the Throne of Glass series last year, and I just never got around to it. I think part of me was wanting to finish off some other things before I committed to like an 8-book series. But I definitely want to get to this next year because I've put it off long enough. I really wanted to read it last year and just never got around to it. So this year I'm definitely reading this book. I'm definitely going to read and at least start and make a good start in the entirety of the Throne of Glass series. The other one that I wanted to talk about was Diabound by Sable Sorensen. I really wanted to read this book. I've heard the most amazing things about this one, and I wanted to get it read this year ideally, but that didn't happen. So this will definitely be one for early in 2026. It is on my 26 in 2026 anyway, but I've just heard so many good things about this series, and I just think it's such a pretty book, and I just really want to read it. And now book 2 comes out in May, so I definitely want to have this read and be seated ready for book 2 arriving. So this is one that I wish I got to last year but didn't, so we'll definitely be reading at the beginning of 2026. The final question that we've got is, what will you prioritise in your next reading year? So some of my goals for 2026 are similar in some ways. Like, I have a different reading goal. I would like to hit 80 books this year, but equally I want to stick to quality over quantity. I don't just want to be reading shit books to make my goal. I want to be reading books I'm genuinely excited about. And I mean, I wouldn't own it if I wasn't excited about it. So I do want to read at least 80 books this year. But one thing I would really like to focus on is actually finishing the series that I start. I got into a really bad habit of just like picking up the first book in a series and then like not touching the series for weeks, and then having to like watch recaps and or just like not picking up the next one because I'm like, well, I can't remember book one, but I don't really want to reread book one. So I want to get into like a better habit of finishing the series that I start. So I have made a start on this. I have made a full series tracker. I've used it a few times in different videos in 2025, but I want to keep the series that I'm in the middle of below 25. And at the minute, as we sit right now, I am on 25. But my plan is to get that from 25 to below 20. And then when it's below 20, I want to keep it below 20. And I'm going to keep going like that. Once I get it below 15, I want to keep it under 15. And I want to really focus on finishing series that I'm in the middle of before starting new ones. So to do this, I have made a TBR card. It is in a video, so I'll link the video for you. But that has got all my 26 books in 2026 that I want to read, and also all the second or the next book in the series that I'm in the middle of. I feel like that way it'll keep me focused on actually finishing some of these series up, and then like once I've read book 2, I'll put book 3 on the cart and keep doing that until the series is done. And then my plan is basically once I've got those off, I can then start a new series. So it'll be like once I've finished one, if I want to start something new I can, but I want to try and focus on getting as many of those off the cart as possible. I'm not very good at reading like a full series back to back, and I don't think for a second that I'm going to pick up a 6-book series and then immediately read books 1 to 6. I think that makes for quite boring content as well, so you do have to sort of like mix up your reads and read multiple different like books and series and things. And it also just keeps me fresh, I think, if I'm reading different things. So I want to be better at it, but I don't think by any means that I'm going to smash out like the entirety of the Throne of Glass series back to back or anything like that. So they're all the questions that I wanted to go through for today. I've literally just waffled at you for over half an hour, so I'm going to shut up now. I'm also going to try and get rid of these hiccups because they've made filming very difficult. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have any other sort of questions that you'd like me to go through, then do let me know. And if you want to know all of my 2026 goals, that video is already up on my channel. We go through my goals, we set up and restart for 2026, and I really enjoyed doing that video. I feel like it made me feel very prepared for my reading year. So definitely go and check that out. That is everything for this video. Thank you so much for being here. I wish you all the best for the new year and for your 2026 reading year and your goals. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, my social media, my Amazon, my Goodreads and my business email are all in the description bar below. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.